The big day had finally come. For the first time ever, alien students from different planets would visit Earth to learn about life here. The Galactic Education Group had planned this special program. They wanted students from many worlds to see how different species lived on their home planets. Earth had agreed to be one of the host worlds. Many aliens were surprised by this. Most of them thought Earth was too dangerous for visitors, but humans said it would be fine. Captain Jake Miller stood at the spaceport waiting for the alien ship to land. He wore his blue Earth defense uniform and checked his watch. The ship was right on time. As it touched down with a soft hiss, Jake wondered what these alien students would think of Earth. The ship's door opened slowly. Out stepped the most unusual group Jake had ever seen. There was Six, who looked like a walking crystal. His body sparkled in the sunlight and made tiny ringing sounds when he moved. Six came from a planet called Crystal Falls, where everything was light and gentle. Next came Aqua, who looked like a big blue fish that could walk on two legs. She had to wear a special water suit to keep her skin wet. Her home planet was covered in calm, warm oceans with no storms or big waves. Then there was Buzz, who looked like a giant ant with 4 arms and big round eyes. He came from Bug World, where millions of his kind worked together like one big mind. On his planet, there were no surprises, and everything was planned. 7 more students followed them out. Each one looked strange and wonderful. There was Flame from the hot desert planet Sands. There was Ice from the cold world Frozen Valley. There was Wind from the sky planet Air Realm. Each alien wore special suits to help them breathe Earth's air and stay comfortable. Professor Mary Jones from State University was in charge of the program. She had studied aliens for 20 years, but she had never met any in person. As she watched them walk slowly and carefully down the ship's ramp, she noticed something odd. The aliens all moved like they were scared or hurt. Even with their special suits, they seemed to struggle with just walking around. At the same time, her human helpers were moving big boxes and heavy equipment around the landing area. The humans worked in the hot sun without any special suits. They lifted things that probably weighed more than some of the alien students. They talked and laughed while they worked, like it was easy and fun. Dr. Bob Smith was the safety officer for the program. He had prepared a special building where the aliens could stay safe and comfortable. The building had perfect air, perfect temperature, and perfect lighting. It had taken 6 months and millions of dollars to build. Even with all this preparation, problems started right away. Within the first hour, 3 alien students needed help from the medical team. Zix began to crack. His crystal body was not made for Earth's heavy gravity. Every step made small breaks appear in his sparkling skin. Aqua could not stop drinking water. Even though her suit gave her moisture, Earth's dry air was pulling water from her body faster than she could replace it. Her blue skin was turning gray and her gills flapped quickly as she tried to breathe. Buzz was the worst off. His big eyes could see many things at once on his home planet, but Earth's bright sun was too much for him. The light bounced off everything and confused his vision. He kept bumping into walls and furniture because he could not see properly. The other alien students had their own problems too. Flame was too cold, even though the humans thought it was a warm day. Ice was too hot and kept melting parts of his frozen body. Wind felt heavy and slow in Earth's thick air. Student helper Kate Green was watching all this happen. She was studying to become a teacher and wanted to help make the aliens feel welcome. But as she watched them struggle with basic things like walking and breathing, she started to worry. Kate looked out the window of the safe building. Outside, construction workers were fixing a road. They wore normal clothes and worked in the direct sunlight. Some of them were not even wearing hats. They used loud machines and lifted heavy concrete blocks. The noise alone would probably hurt the aliens' sensitive hearing. A mail carrier walked by, carrying a heavy bag of letters. She was walking fast and looked happy. She waved at the construction workers and called out a joke that made them laugh. To her, this was just a normal day at work. But inside the safe building, 10 alien students were fighting just to survive in the most protected environment Earth could provide for them. Kate began to realize something important. Maybe Earth was not the safe, normal planet that humans thought it was. Maybe humans were just so used to living in a dangerous place that they did not even notice the danger anymore. Maybe what felt normal to humans would feel impossible to most other species in the galaxy. As the first day ended, Kate helped the tired alien students to their rest areas. Each one needed different things to sleep safely. Special lights, special sounds, special air. Everything had to be just right, or they might get sick or hurt. Meanwhile, the human staff went home to their normal houses, ate normal food, and slept in normal beds. They did not need any special equipment to survive the night on Earth. Kate wondered what the aliens would think when they learned what humans did for fun. 2 weeks had passed since the alien students arrived on Earth. Professor Mary Jones thought they were ready for their first real trip outside the safe building. She planned what she believed was a simple visit to Green Valley Park. It was a quiet place with grass, trees, and a small pond. What could go wrong? The alien students put on their special protective suits. Each suit cost more than a house and had computers that watched everything around them. The suits could protect them from many dangers, but they were heavy and made it hard to move. Park Ranger Tom Wilson met them at the park entrance. He was a friendly man who loved nature and knew everything about the local plants and animals. He had worked at the park for 15 years and thought this would be an easy day showing visitors around. The group had only walked for 5 minutes when disaster struck. A small orange cat appeared on the path ahead of them. The cat was just sitting in the sun, cleaning its paw. To Tom, it was a normal sight. Cats lived around the park and helped keep mice away. But the alien students reacted like they had seen a monster. Zix's crystal body began flashing red warning colors. His translator spoke in a panicked voice about detecting an apex predator in the area. Aqua dove behind a bench and refused to come out. Buzz's forearms waved wildly as his big eyes tried to track the cat's every movement. Tom stared at them in confusion. The cat was old and fat and could barely catch a butterfly, let alone hurt anyone. But the aliens' computers had identified it as a dangerous hunting creature with sharp claws and teeth. On their peaceful home planets, nothing like cats existed. The cat looked at the strange group for a moment, decided they were boring, and walked away to find a sunny spot for a nap. The alien students watched it leave like they had just survived a battle. Things got worse when the weather changed. Dark clouds appeared in the sky, and Tom could smell rain coming. He thought it might be nice to have a gentle spring shower to cool things down. The aliens thought they were about to die. The first thunder made them all scream. The sound was louder than anything on their quiet home worlds. When lightning flashed across the sky, their suit computers went crazy with warnings about dangerous energy levels. On Zix's planet, there was no weather at all. On Aqua's world, water never fell from the sky with such force. On Buzz's world, the hive mind protected everyone from surprises like storms. Dr. Sarah White, the team scientist, watched all this happen with growing amazement. She had always thought of Earth as a normal, comfortable place to live, but she was starting to see it through alien eyes, and it looked terrifying. The humans in the group acted completely different from the aliens. When the rain started, they just pulled up their jacket hoods or opened umbrellas. Some of them actually smiled and said they enjoyed the fresh smell of rain. Park worker Mike Davis kept doing his job, picking up trash and fixing a broken fence like nothing unusual was happening. The most shocking moment came when a group of human children appeared. Mrs. Anderson's third-grade class was on a field trip to learn about nature. 28 kids, all about 8 years old, came running down the path laughing and playing games. 8-year-old Lucy Chen saw something interesting by the pond. It was a big black beetle with a shiny shell and large pincer-like mouth parts. To Lucy, it looked cool. She picked up a stick and gently poked at the beetle, trying to make it move so she could see how it walked. The alien students watched in absolute horror. Their suit computers had marked the beetle as a dangerous armored creature with cutting tools for a mouth. They saw a small, helpless human child playing with what they thought was a weapon-carrying enemy. But Lucy just giggled when the beetle grabbed her stick with its pincers. She called her friends over to look at the cool bug she had found. Soon 5 human children were gathered around the beetle, poking at it with sticks and trying to make it race across the ground. Teacher Mrs. Anderson walked over to see what the kids were doing. When she saw the beetle, she just said, "That's A nice ground beetle, kids. They eat harmful bugs in the garden. Just don't pick it up with your hands and wash up when we get back to school. The alien students could not believe what they were seeing. Human children were playing with dangerous creatures like it was perfectly normal. Their parents and teachers were not worried at all. This would never happen on any of their home planets. Buzz tried to warn the children through his translator. "Small humans, move away from the armored threat," his mechanical voice said. "Your safety systems have failed." Lucy looked at the giant, ant-like alien with confusion. "What's wrong with him?" she asked her teacher. "It's just a beetle." Mrs. Anderson explained that the alien students came from planets where there were no bugs like Earth bugs. Lucy thought this was sad. "How do they learn about nature if they don't have any cool bugs?" she asked. As the day went on, more problems appeared. The aliens were afraid of butterflies because they flew in unpredictable patterns. They were scared of bees because the buzzing sound hurt their sensitive hearing. They jumped when birds sang too loudly. Even the plants worried them. When Tom explained that roses had thorns to protect themselves, the aliens realized they were surrounded by plants that could fight back. On their worlds, plants just grew quietly without any defenses. The final shock came when it was time to leave. The human children had spent the whole day running, jumping, climbing trees, and playing in the dirt. They were happy and full of energy. Their clothes were dirty, they had small cuts and bruises from playing, and some of them were soaking, wet from the rain. But none of the adults seemed worried about any of this. The children's injuries were treated as normal parts of having fun. Getting dirty was expected. Playing in dangerous weather was just called being kids. The alien students returned to their safe building exhausted and confused. They had learned something important that day. Earth was not just different from their home planets. It was dangerous in ways they had never imagined, and humans, especially human children, seemed to enjoy the danger. 3 weeks into the program, the alien students were getting sicker every day. Dr. Helen Price, the team's doctor, had never seen anything like it. She was treating problems that did not exist in any medical book. Zix's crystal body kept developing new cracks. Even in the safe building with perfect conditions, Earth's gravity was slowly breaking him apart. His species had evolved on a planet with gravity so light that a human could jump 50 feet in the air there. On Earth, Zix felt like he was being crushed by invisible weights. Aqua was drinking water all day and night, but she kept getting more dried out. Earth's air was pulling moisture from her body faster than she could replace it. Her blue skin was turning white in patches, and her gills were working overtime just to help her breathe. Buzz was having mental breakdowns. His species shared one, big group mind on their home planet. Everyone thought together and made decisions together. But on Earth, surrounded by billions of individual human minds all thinking different thoughts, he felt lost and scared. The chaos was driving him crazy. The other alien students had similar problems. They were all slowly dying from just trying to exist on Earth, even with the best protection money could buy. Professor Mary Jones decided they needed a break from outdoor activities. She planned the safest possible trip she could think of, a visit to the city botanical garden. It was indoors, controlled and peaceful. The plants were behind glass or in safe containers. What could possibly go wrong? The alien students were excited to finally see something that would not try to kill them. Plants were supposed to be gentle and harmless. On their homeworlds, plants just grew quietly and caused no problems. Garden expert Chris Stone met them at the entrance. He was a friendly old man who had worked with plants his whole life. He loved showing people the beautiful flowers and interesting trees from around the world. The tour started well. The aliens were amazed by the pretty colors and different shapes of Earth's plants. They took pictures and asked questions through their translators. For the first time since arriving on Earth, they seemed relaxed and happy. Then Chris began explaining how the plants lived and grew. That was when everything went wrong. He stopped by a beautiful rose bush covered in red flowers. "These are some of our most popular flowers," Chris said with a smile. "Just watch out for the thorns. They can give You a nasty cut if you're not careful." The alien student stared at the roses in horror. The plants had weapons. Sharp spikes covered the stems, ready to stab anyone who came too close. This was not possible. Plants were supposed to be peaceful. Chris noticed their shocked faces and tried to make them feel better. "Oh, don't worry. The thorns aren't that bad. Kids get scratched by roses all the time, it's no big deal." This made things worse. Human children were regularly wounded by these plant weapons, and adults thought it was normal. The group moved on to other displays, but each one brought new terror. Chris pointed out a cactus and mentioned that some types could shoot their spines at enemies. He showed them a Venus flytrap that ate insects alive. He talked about poison ivy that could make people sick just by touching it. The worst moment came when they reached the herb garden. Chris picked a leaf from a pretty bush with white flowers. "This is oleander," he said. "Beautiful flowers, but every part of the plant is deadly poisonous. We have to be careful where we plant it because even the smoke from burning it can hurt people." The alien students could not move. They were surrounded by chemical weapons disguised as pretty decorations. These plants could kill with poison, cut with spikes, or shoot projectiles. Earth's plants were warriors in a war the aliens did not understand. Zix's translator spoke in a shaking voice. "How do humans survive in gardens of death?" he asked. Chris laughed, thinking it was a joke. "Oh, you just learn what to touch and what not to touch. Most plants are fine. Only a few hundred species around here can really hurt you." Only a few hundred. The aliens realized that humans lived surrounded by hundreds of different ways to die, and they called it gardening. The breaking point came when maintenance worker Pete Johnson arrived to fix a broken water pipe. He was a normal-looking man in work clothes carrying a toolbox. He said hello to the group and got to work. The alien students watched Pete work. He used tools that their safety computers marked as dangerous. His metal saw could cut through bone. His drill could punch holes in their protective suits. His chemicals could burn skin or cause breathing problems. But Pete worked with all these deadly tools like they were toys. He cut metal pipes, mixed dangerous chemicals, and handled equipment that could easily kill someone. He did not wear any special protection except basic safety glasses and work gloves. When Aqua's translator asked about his safety procedures, Pete laughed. "This is nothing," he said. "You should see what we use on construction sites. Power tools, heavy machinery, electrical systems, toxic materials. This little repair job is easy stuff." The alien students realized something terrible. This human was saying that his current job, working with deadly tools and dangerous chemicals, was considered light and easy work by human standards. Dr. Sarah White was taking notes on everything she observed. She watched Pete finish his repairs and pack up his tools. To him, it had been a simple 20-minute job. To the aliens, it had been a demonstration of impossible survival skills. As they returned to the safe building, the alien students were quiet and thoughtful. They had learned that Earth was not just dangerous because of its weather, gravity, and animals. The plants were weapons, the tools were weapons. Even simple maintenance work required skills that would make someone a hero on their home planets. That night, 3 more alien students had to be put in emergency medical care. The stress of understanding how dangerous their environment was had made them sicker than the environment itself. Kate Green stayed late to help with the medical care. As she watched the alien students struggle to survive another day on Earth, she wondered what they would think when they learned about human sports and entertainment. If garden maintenance work seemed impossible to them, what would they say about the things humans did for fun? The final week of the exchange program arrived, and only 7 of the original 10 alien students were still healthy enough to participate. 3 had to be sent home early because Earth was literally killing them, even with the best protection available. Dr. Patricia Bell arrived as a special guest speaker. She was an expert on extreme sports and human recreation. Professor Mary Jones thought it would be interesting for the aliens to learn about human hobbies and entertainment. She had no idea what she was about to unleash. Dr. Bell set up a big screen in the safe building. The remaining alien students gathered around, curious to learn about this new topic. Their translators hummed softly as they prepared to record everything. Today I want to show you what humans do for fun, Dr. Bell said with a smile. She clicked a button, and the screen filled with images of people climbing tall mountains. The first video showed a human named Jack Adams climbing Mount Rockface in winter. He was thousands of feet above the ground, hanging from a rope in freezing wind and snow. The temperature was far below what any of the alien students could survive, even in their protective suits. Six's crystal body began flashing red warning lights. His translator spoke in a panicked voice. "Why is the human voluntarily entering a death zone?" he asked. Dr. Bell explained that mountain climbing was a popular hobby. Millions of humans did it for excitement and challenge. They deliberately went to places with thin air, deadly cold, and dangerous weather because they enjoyed the difficulty. The alien students sat in stunned silence. Humans sought out conditions that would kill most galactic species instantly, and they called it recreation. The next video was even worse. It showed humans jumping out of perfectly good aircraft with nothing but thin fabric to save their lives. Skydiving looked like attempted suicide to the aliens, but the humans in the video were laughing and shouting with joy as they fell toward the ground at deadly speeds. Aqua's gills flapped frantically as she tried to understand. On her water world, falling meant landing in soft, warm ocean. On Earth, falling meant hitting hard ground and dying. Yet humans threw themselves into the sky on purpose. Dr. Bell showed them rock climbing next. Humans hanging from cliffs by their fingertips hundreds of feet above sharp rocks. Some of them climbed without any safety ropes at all. Free solo climbing, she called it. The ultimate test of skill and courage. Buzz's 4 arms waved wildly as his translator tried to process what he was seeing. "The humans have removed their safety systems," it said. "This is incomprehensible behavior." The videos kept coming. Surfing showed humans deliberately placing themselves in the path of massive walls of water that could crush bones and fill lungs. The aliens learned that Earth's oceans contained predators with rows of sharp teeth, jellyfish with lethal stings, and currents that could drag swimmers to their deaths. And humans went into these death waters for fun. White water rafting was next. Humans in small boats throwing themselves down violent rivers full of rocks and whirlpools. The water moved so fast and hit so hard that it could break human bones. But the people in the videos were screaming with excitement and asking to do it again. Motorsports made the aliens physically sick to watch. Humans in metal machines racing at speeds that would turn any mistake into instant death. They drove cars, motorcycles, boats, and planes in competitions to see who could go fastest without dying. Dr. Bell showed them extreme skiing, where humans launched themselves off cliffs on thin boards, flying through the air before landing on steep slopes covered in ice and rocks. She showed them bungee jumping, where humans tied ropes to their legs and threw themselves off bridges. "Why?" Flame's translator asked in a voice full of despair. "Why do humans deliberately enter death scenarios?" Dr. Bell thought for a moment. "I guess because it's exciting," she said. "We like to test ourselves against challenges. It makes us feel alive." The alien students could not understand this answer. On their worlds, staying alive was the most important thing. Avoiding danger was basic common sense, but humans seemed to think that avoiding danger was boring. The final presentation came from Captain Carol Hunt of the Space Force. She had been asked to talk about human space exploration. She thought it would be inspiring to show how humans had reached for the stars. Captain Hunt showed them footage of human space missions. Astronauts living in tiny metal boxes surrounded by the vacuum of space. Humans working outside their ships in conditions that would freeze and suffocate any unprotected person in seconds. Humans landing on worlds with no air, deadly radiation, and temperatures that could boil water or freeze it solid. "This is our Mars colony," Captain Hunt said proudly, showing images of humans living underground on the red planet. 3,000 people live there now, mining resources and building new cities. The alien students stared at the screen in horror. Mars was classified in their databases as completely uninhabitable. The radiation alone would kill most galactic species in hours. The cold would freeze their blood. The thin atmosphere would suffocate them. Yet humans lived there by choice and called it progress. Captain Hunt showed them asteroid mining operations, where humans worked in zero gravity among floating rocks that could crush their ships. She showed them deep space exploration missions, where humans traveled for years through empty space to reach dangerous unknown worlds. "We're planning missions to gas giant moons next," she said excitedly. "The conditions there will be challenging, but we're sure we can adapt." The remaining alien students looked at each other through their protective face masks. They finally understood the truth about Earth and humanity. Earth was not just a dangerous planet. It was a world so deadly that it had created a species that found safety boring and danger exciting. Humans were not just survivors of a death world. They were predators shaped by it, creatures who had become so adapted to lethal conditions that they actively sought out even greater challenges. When the exchange program ended, the 7 surviving alien students returned to their homeworlds as different beings. Their reports would change how the galaxy viewed humanity forever. They wrote about a species that ate poison plants for flavor, kept predators as pets, and built their cities in the most dangerous places they could find. They described humans as creatures who looked at a deadly environment and asked how they could make it more challenging. The alien students had learned why Earth was called a death world. It was not just because the planet was dangerous. It was because it had created humans, a species that treated survival as a hobby and death as a game to be won. Back on Earth, humans continued their normal lives, completely unaware that they had just redefined what it meant to be alive in a dangerous universe.